Soy. Okay, I did this yesterday for Kome, and it worked okay. Before I was actually done with all my stuff and ready to go, I started recording earlier because I find that as I'm gearing up to go, I find myself dredging up my memories of the episode and what's been going on and the comments that I've been getting about it and like all these things and trying to figure out how do I talk about the thing? Like what, and I've got to switch gears from the previous thing that I was thinking about and talking about to the now thing that I'm thinking about and talking about. And also from like everything that's going on in the entire world and my life and everything else down to trying to focus on an episode of anime. And that process doesn't work. Obviously, that's why there's a 45-minute intro to the previous episode of Kongmeng. But that process is what lets me narrow it down. However, once I've narrowed it down, I always like forget a bunch of the things that I thought of when I was talking about the thing or just thinking about the thing. And I always find something really interesting, which I came up with as like a uh an actually verbalized thought last night is thinking isn't thinking until I'm speaking or writing. I can be thinking as much as I want, and I'm mostly just spinning around, spinning my wheels, not doing anything. And as soon as I start speaking or writing out the thing that I'm thinking, it's like, oh, I'm actually forced to think here. And it flows most naturally for me while speaking. I think many people are like this just because there's a propensity for authors and creatives to carry around recorders of some kind, now phones mostly, but there used to be a serious, and still is to some extent, a serious market for just recorders for recording yourself all the time to take memos and notes and stuff. I like that as an idea. I like that a lot. It appeals to me maybe more than a normal journal. The thing about it that is unappealing is that you have to speak out loud, and I don't want to speak all of my thoughts out loud all the time for obvious reasons. You probably wouldn't want to either. Like, I don't feel even a little bit of shame in saying that. I think that's obvious. But when it comes to doing this sort of honing down, I can do that out loud, and I actually like doing it. And the part about it that's really hard or a problem is that it takes time. I think the time is worth it. But then I have this mishmash of bullshit that I may or may not want to edit. Anyway, I'm thinking about Mushoku, and this is gonna be a doozy, baby. Oh man, this is gonna be a doozy. Got some interesting comments on the last one, and like I don't know how I'm going to address it because having read all the comments that have come in so far and uh grappled with them to the best of my ability, I think I'm gonna double down, despite pretty much everybody disagreeing with me. I think I'm gonna double down on at least one note. At least we'll see. There's so much about the episode and story portion and what we're doing here that I like, that it's pretty cool. It's pretty intelligent and pretty neatly written and pretty smart. And then there's like just just one thing that really like I don't see it. I feel like it's really strange. But I think I'm going to have to double down on it because I really think that there's something weird about Rudy's reaction to figuring out that he's got feelings for a male presenting person in his school. And what it gets down to in reality, at its very core, is nothing to do with Sylphie and nothing to do with Rudius, and everything to do with the difference between physical reality and two-dimensional drawn reality, to me. Because, to me, if you draw a smiley face and you say, this is girl, that's a girl. And if you draw a smiley face and you say, this is a boy, that's a boy. And that's not how our actual physical real world works at all. At all. So when you take Sylphiette and you make Sylphiette fits in world, and you say, everybody in world treats this person as if they are totally male. Nobody has any suspicions about Sylphie Fitz being not male. Everybody's like, "Oh, Mr. Fitz is really scary. That dude's got it going on." And girls are like fawning over Mr. Fitz and what? Okay, whatever. It's not everybody thinks that this is a pretty girly boy. It's not everybody thinks that this is somebody and they just don't look at it that much, except Master Genius who knows, and Luke and Ariel who know. It's they all actually accept that this person who we're told this is boy, and we know as an audience is not boy, this is a male, and everybody treats it as such, and Rudy falls in love with that person. Right? Right. So Rudy, male straight character, falls in love with a male presenting person. That presents some issues depending on your definitions and beliefs about what gender and sex actually mean. Why would he fall in love with a fully male presenting male person? Unless there was something fundamentally female about that person, because that person isn't actually identifying as male or really giving off male vibes or whatnot, which then shatters the whole mystique. Why has nobody questioned that Fitzsylphy is Fitzsylphy? I don't know. So what we come to is I don't actually care. I really don't care if Rudy is like being weird about his like feelings here, or even the thing that I said later where people think that I took it in the worst context, where he suddenly brightens up and everything feels great because in his explicit words, it's literally frame by frame explicit. He becomes happy as he realizes this could solve my problems. That's what happens in the show. I don't even care about that. What I care about at this point is that some layer of the carefully orchestrated narrative thing that we're doing here with the ED and the romance without romance, and then the bait and switch with Nanahoshi, and the eventual gender swap reveal after generating a big powerful friendship between these characters on the premise that they're both male and capable of talking about these things without any compunctions. Something about that really falls apart when we evaluate the two things in context, which are, or in juxtaposition, which are everybody actually thinks that Fitz is male, including Rudy, and Rudy falls in love with this person, and then his first impression is, well, that must not be a guy then. At least in the anime, because apparently it's different in the light novel or web novel. And so it's a confusing clusterfuck regardless. So there's an issue there. I really think that there's an issue there with the core of the writing idea. You've got the gender swap thing, everybody buys it, yet your character falls in love. How? Why? What does that mean gender is? Actually, real question. Don't know. I think it flies in the face of performative gender theory as a story. I don't know if that's necessarily useful. I got no fucking idea. I don't think Rifujin planned to make this way. What I think this is many of Rifujin's story beats to me appear to be intentionally ambiguous or intentionally intriguing in a is this a good thing to do sort of way. Like the whole Beast Girls situation is pretty distasteful and also somewhat justifiable. And it's like, it ends up, regardless of how you feel about it, it's like, it's an interesting that was written there, isn't it? I think that was an interesting piece of a thing. It made me feel things. It made me a little upset and a little bit interested and a little bit confused and a little bit unsure of whether I can identify with this main character, which is, sort of like my actual existence as a real person, because sometimes I'm a little bit confused whether I can identify as myself. That's all real to me. That's all right to me. It's all pretty cool. Many of those things feel like they're Rifujin intended, TM reserved, right? Like good stuff. But then there are things that are just seemingly kind of unconscious. And I think this is an unconscious one. The carefully orchestrated Rifujin fuckery with the gender reversal and the romance building with the friendship thing and the ED being a present part of it and the whole circumstance is pretty neat. But then, as a foundational element of the circumstance, we have a fundamental question about what does it mean to love somebody? What does it mean to be straight? What does it mean to represent yourself as male? If everybody treats a person as such, what vibes did Syl Fitz give off that made Rudy fall in love with her, regardless of what package label was on the outside? Because that really happened, right? Like, Rudy is a straight character who fell in love with a male-presenting character who was actually female, and fell in love with her because of her female traits, mostly. The, like, cute scratching of the ears and the demure demeanor and all these things. But in every moment, in the context of, like, but that's a guy, though. Okay, so what if it was a guy, though? From Rudy's perspective, it is, right? Because we drew the smiley face and said, this is a boy, and in our 2D reality, we tell that to Rudy and he takes it and runs with it. Whether we believe that in that or not, whether we believe that it's believable for Rudy to believe that Fitz is Sylphie, or Fitz is Fitz, right? Whether we look at Rudy and we're like, dude, that's so stupid, isn't it so obvious, or not, we have to take it in context. Everybody in this whole school has not realized it. All of Sylphiette's clothing is cut feminine. She looks female as far as she's drawn. So where it all gets blurry because it's not actually a real person. It all becomes the label and the identity and the self-representation, and everybody takes it as is, and then Rudy falls in love with her, him, them anyway. Despite that. Because of... So that's super interesting to me. I think it's super interesting. I've come around to it as being pretty cool. I still don't think it's intentional, and I still think it reveals some unconscious biases specifically because of the way that Rudy reacts, which apparently is different in the light novel, and so I'm sorry. Specifically because of the way that Rudy reacts when he starts having feelings for her. His first reaction is, but that can't be a guy, though. And there's no reason for him to think that. It's like, it's weird. Unless we unpack all the rest of it. It doesn't make any sense. Frame it in a real world situation. Jim meets Bob. Jim and Bob hang out. Jim knows he's a straight guy. Jim starts to notice that Bob does some pretty sexy things. Jim starts to have feelings for Bob. Jim goes, Bob must be a woman. Wait, what? No, wrong, incorrect. Like, what? That's crazy. That's absurd. Jim has no reason to think that Bob is in any way. That doesn't make any sense at all. Unless we fold in all the Ariel stuff, then it kind of makes sense. Because if we fold in that he's already suspicious, then it makes sense. Still, it's like a denial-y thing. I don't know, I've been through some layers of self-sexual denial, and denial about like orientation and tendencies, and confusion about orientation and tendencies. And this whole thing feels really familiar to me. It actually feels really familiar to me. Is like, but that could not be. It could be. It definitely could be. And there have been a number of comments, and maybe I'll go through directly comments later. There have been a number of comments that have said, like, well, but Rudy knows that he's straight. Obviously, right? He lived a whole life already as a straight man. Not without any sexual experience, right? Okay. And then he's lived his whole life now as a young man, and he's been a straight man. Again, with very minimal sexual experience. Dude, 60-year-old guys who've been married their whole lives find themselves attracted to a guy sometimes. Like, seriously. People aren't, like, locked in that much. Things can get repressed and brought back up. All sorts of shit can happen. I think that when that shit happens, the response being something like, it could not be, actually is pretty common, though. Like, of course, some form of denial. That tracks. And so, even in its unconscious weirditude, I think Regine is so funny cool like this. Even in its unconscious weirditude, what it pokes at is something that's also still pretty real world, which is like, what if you started to have emotional or sexual feelings that flew in the face of your established, proven sexual identity and orientation as you see it? Ruh-roh, what are you gonna do about that? Your brain might have different ideas than you do. as a forward-thinking progressive human, you might go, well, maybe I'll explore my urges and see what's up there. And your brain might go, that's impossible. No. Gross. Okay, I'm gonna go through the episode again in order to find the thumbnail, and I'll see some things in there, and maybe I'll change my mind on some things. And I'll make the thumbnail and I'll post it, and then I'll go take a shower. And while I shower, there will probably be some comments, and then I'll come back and I'll read through all the comments, and then I'll actually enter episode proper primo, and I'll see how much of this in the beginning portion I end up actually using. See ya in a smidge. I'll keep this running while I make the thumbnail, just so that I can blather if I see anything really, like, that seems to require my attention. I think for the thumbnail moment, where's her falling on him? I feel like I might have made a funny face there. Yeah. Oh, that's very silly. That's almost emoji worthy. Look at this shit. That one. Yeah. I should probably grab that, huh? All right. Okay, maybe I'll grab that. So, most of the first half of the episode is plot development. It's a bunch of plot development for different plots all at once, little bits. She was in a shop nearby is such a like solid cold read, or she has information about Ariel's schedule, because she wasn't there. Like Sylphie wasn't there. She was here in the library the whole time. And so when Rudy asks, but you weren't with her, she has to cold read that and figure out where they actually were, or has to figure it out based on context. Woof. Okay, so he does immediately sort of figure out that Ariel and Fitz, there's a disguise going on, is the first thing that he figures out. And we get, how could I ever hate you in the little scratch? And then it's that night that he starts having titty thoughts, thinking about... So it does come along with the knowledge that Fitz isn't Fitz. And that it's already a woman pretending to be other Fitz, Ariel, right? Okay, so all these symptoms point to love, right? This is love. I'm in love with a man. And then his next thought is, wait, is he really a man? I'm not projecting here. That's line by line, though, right? Even if we take into account that there is the disbelief in the person and the knowledge that there's some kind of switcheroo here, his first thought after, I am in love, that is a man who I am in love with, is, it is not so. It can't be. It's his first thought. And then we have the Landy Flippy Whippy figure it out. Hold on. Okay. Mr. Fitz is a woman. That's a big deal. Okay. This is just such an easy win on my part against the comments. People's guys. He's more happy about his pee-pee working is provable. It's provable in the thing, because he goes, Mr. Fitz is a woman. That's a big deal. But more importantly, that. Literally, in our protagonist's words. But the more important thing that I care about most... I'm not making this shit up. I get it now, and he smiles up. Everything has come together, and I'll be saved. Holds the cure to keep... Mr. Fitz definitely holds the key to curing my ED, but I can't get any more intimate with her now. Again, like, I will use her as a way to achieve my goal, but I probably shouldn't push my luck immediately because then it'll backfire. Is not kind, interested, compassionate, like, it's very usurious. It's very goal-directed toward fixing his problem, not toward anything else. And it's pretty gross. I think that's fine. Like, that's okay if Rudy acts that way. I might act that way in the same situation. He's just had years of psychological torment over his pee-pee not working. And I'm not belittling that. Men have been tortured by that for years and years, for forever. But that is immediately what he says and thinks. I'm doubled down. I'm doubled down and convinced. Fuck the haters, y'all. Jesus. I know, you guys aren't hating. You're just trying... Honestly, you're loving in most senses. You're trying to protect the story that you love so much. I'm not attacking the story that you love so much. I'm just interested in it. It's not flawless. And that's okay. Rudy's not flawless either. That's okay. Dude, I still think the thumbnail with the X over Eris is so fucking funny. People keep asking me why I did that. The answer is because it's funny. Why do you think? There's no deep reason for it. It's what it's like Rudy looking back on like a family photo of all the people he cares about. He's just crossing Eris out. Fuck her. God, tore my heart out. I just think it's funny. That's it. That's it. I'm an idiot. Oh man, don't take me so seriously. Jesus. It's part of the problem with like trying really hard to do the criticism really well is that people expect you to actually be good at it, and like that's incorrect. That's wrong. Okay, just gonna do comments quick. Danny Man. I disagree that Rudius' thought process is gross. I also don't think it's homophobic to feel how Rudius felt. Any straight person, especially someone as straight and into girls as Rudy is, would question himself if he started realizing that he's begun to feel love toward a man. I think you're correct. I don't think that's what Rudius does. He questions whether that's a man, not himself. He doesn't go, am I gay? He goes, that's not a man. Is that really a man? Is Fitz really, it can't be so. Our sexuality is part of identity, and realizing that all of a sudden it's flipped can be detrimental to your psyche and mental health. Obviously. It's not easy to accept. Obviously. And no matter how much we as a society, blah, blah, the individual change or realization will always be hard to embrace, especially this late in his life. Right. For 50 years, he never had any interest in a boy, and now that he does, he has to be sure that it is that way. Right. And that reveals some latent homophobia. Right? Like, not fear of or anger at or disgust at, but like, that can't be the way that I am. Therefore, something about the world is different. It's not something about me that's changed. It's something about the world that's different. He happens to be right in this context. It is something about the world that's different. Sylphie is actually a girl, right? And he's actually falling in love with a woman. And that's, like, that makes sense in a lot of ways. But the way that he addresses it does not. He literally acknowledged that he loved Fitz before he found out she was a girl. He was just struggling with it. He didn't just struggle with it. His impression was directly, I love this person. Therefore, this person is not the identity that I have known them as for their entire life. Therefore, there must be something wrong with them. Right? I'm not crazy here. That's literally what he does in scene. It might be different in the light novel, but it's literally what he does in scene. Also, he was excited at the possibility of having a relationship with her once he knew, and thought it would help his ED, but immediately accepted that he wasn't ready yet, and decided to keep treating her as a boy the best he could. Still, the line that he actually says, the actual line that he says is, wow, Mr. Fitz is a woman, but more importantly, my PiP works. Haha, that reads a particular way, right? Like, directly. I think Johann's comment is way better. I think it is a poor understanding to conflate homophobia with an avowed, asserted heterosexual being able to honestly face an open sexuality question, then honestly reaffirming their stance. The clues have always been there about Sylphitz, between the micro-expressions the brain automatically processes and the pheromones that directly feed the brain, the voice, the touch. And that I agree with. And it's stated when we talk about all the scents and other things, but it doesn't work with the two-dimensionality of our characters and the fact that literally everyone else in the school has never questioned that Sylphie's a girl. Boy. We have to take it as rote. Everybody treats this character as if it's true, and not obviously not true. Even if it's obviously true. Shocker of shockers, sometimes when one's sexuality is reviewed for consideration, the answer is, nope, no changes here, even without fully exploring and experimenting into potential disaster. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. There's no way to know that. If he's got feelings for a person who's identified themselves as male, that's an issue with him, probably. You can't just, like, look at yourself and go, have I become gay? Nah, don't think so. How would you know? How would you know? You wouldn't. Am I crazy here? I don't think so. He methodically analyzed his responses, paired them against his experiences, and drew the predictable conclusion. The predictable conclusion is I'm in love with a man. That's actually the predictable conclusion. Your predictable conclusion is, if only Fitz Senpai weren't a man, becomes the next logical evolution of the thought process, and to his surprise gets validated. I think that's not true. I think the next logical conclusion is, I think my sexuality has changed. Because evaluating yourself is impossible without reflection toward the outside world and socialization. No chance that you're going to look at yourself and go, wait, am I gay? Well, I've been having feelings toward a guy, so yeah, maybe, actually, would be his self-evaluation. Yeah, actually, maybe. Paired against his experiences, well, I keep having feelings toward this male-presenting person, and drew the next predictable conclusion, my sexuality has changed. Or at least it's more fluid than I thought, and at least femboys are okay. Maybe Rudy's never met a fucking femboy. If only Fit Senpai weren't a man becomes the next logical level. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I disagree. I'm sorry. I disagree. Having a glimpse of the end of his problem, exactly as the man God promised, does not drive him to pursue Fits as a means to an end immediately. No, it doesn't, like, make him, like, fall over himself to it, but it is his first thought. Literally his first thought. He is not pushing for instant gratification, contrary to what the wank test may have led you to believe, and instead chooses to honor Fitz's need to maintain the facade. I agree, I understand. He's honoring the facade and doing all these things in order to get the goal that he wants eventually. Like, he's doing it honorably, but it's still, he sees her immediately as a means to his ends, fixing his problem, not the other way around. On that, all variants of the body double stratagem have been a staple of executive protection for millennia. Discovering that Ariel gains freedom of movement to be able merely to go shopping in the Fitz persona guise should not be so incomprehensible. No, that's true. She's not out trolling for femboy aficionados to reverse trap ambush with Wear Banana. Although, she might be. While Luke keeps the door blocked to prevent escape, it's legit shopping. I don't know why you brought any of that up, but oh, okay. I thought I agreed with your comment, and then I read through it out loud, and I actually don't think I agree. I think I agree with your premise. I don't think it applies to the scene that we've got here, because it's not what happens in the scene we've got here. Well, I'm doubling down really hard. Cough Me's is one that's gotten spread around quite a bit. I think T auto-completes a lot of Rudy's thoughts in this one. I'm in love with a man, but that's impossible. Rudy never indicated that it was impossible, except through his actions and speech afterward, where his first premise, or his first assumption afterward was, must not be a man then. So it's impossible. It must not be my sexuality that's changed. It must be that there's something different in the world around me. I know exactly how to relate to this character, and I'm going to manipulate them in order to achieve my goals. Never said nor implied in the anime. Yes, it is. Literally, it's most important. The most important thing to me is that my pee-pee stood up. And then he's going to chill and step back and be manipulative in order to accomplish his goal. He's not going to go, again, not going to go barreling ass over tea kettle to make it happen, but his mental state has turned into, how can I best achieve this goal? And his answer is, treat Fitz nicely and allow this facade to continue in order to worm my way in, and it's pretty sinister. Like, Rudy's not a good person, remember? And people keep indicating that I'm somehow making some mistake by thinking that Rudy is still not a good person. That, like, I'm not, that I'm keeping up with his growth, but continuing to see him in the worst light while he's changed significantly as a character. He's still, not a good person. He's still pretty manipulative and schemy and totally willing to take what the world gives him and makes huge mistakes continuously and is, like, greedy and pernicious and vengeful and foolish and has blinders on and can't see the world around him very effectively and is self-interested and self-centered and focused on his own problems over the problems of the rest of the world. Like, duh. I don't think that's, like, seeing him in an improper light. That is the character that we're experiencing here. Fitz being a woman comes as a relief to his questioning of his own sexuality, yes, but that's not the main reason he's in good spirits. No, the main reason he's in good spirits is because his pee-pee is going to be fixed, and he's found the means to the end for that, which is Fitz, a person, right? So he's using that person, right? This is really simple. I think it's really simple. I see it as him simply connecting the dots. Okay. I'm not going to touch this. Nick Murr, thank you. This is one that I needed to get to. It's not conveyed very well in the anime, but since we get more of his inner monologue in the novels, he was coming to terms with being potentially gay or bisexual, but would prefer it if Fitz were a girl. He was losing his mind with this whole thing for almost a year now. See, that tracks to me, man. That tracks to me, and it tracks with a bunch of the ways that other people have responded to my criticisms, but that is not in the anime. That is not what's here. I'm working with what I got, y'all. I got one version of the medium. And in this version, I'm sticking with my guns. I'm pretty sure that it's weird. I don't know what it means. It's not like intentionally a particular argument about things. It's just fumbly, actually. It's just like not quite coherent in the way that I really, and this is a testament to the quality of the story that we've been dealing with so far, is that I actually expect all of the interpersonal relationships to be relatively coherent, and all of the internal character writing for Rudy to be purpose driven. It's why I analyze the shit out of it so much, and why I like talk about the Beast Girls things so much, is because it's like Rifujin probably has a purpose to writing this. What could it possibly be? And then I stumble across this portion of it, and I'm like, that feels like it's a stumble, actually. I don't see... That feels like it's a narrative convenience in order to make this whole romance thing work. That feels weird. Maybe it's not actually there in the anime, and then they really flubbed by removing a piece of the important puzzle in order to give us Rudy's whole perspective, because that year of flipping out about it is pretty important, right? And that, like, twisted psychological state that you get into when you're worried about something that's about your core identity over and over for a while isn't here. It's not in the anime. Nor is him coming to terms with any sort of like, well, maybe I do have feelings for a guy. His first thought, as presented in the anime, is, must not be a guy then. What if not guy? Delta Piss, I wouldn't really say it's homophobia. I don't know if Rudy is pan or straight, but being in denial or upset about it is a fairly normal reaction for people who are just discovering something new about their sexuality. I super agree. And I think that would be a totally normal thing to be represented here, and I don't think that's represented very well here. If that is what we're going for, and Rudy's just in denial about it, and he's going, well, no, it must be a woman, and then why? That would make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense. That would be great. Good story. And then it would be latent homophobia or denial, right? Denial represented as, that can't be the way that I feel because it's not my core identity, which I think definitionally is homophobic. And to the people asking, can't we use homophobia still for like just violence and hatred and stuff? I'm sorry, but I don't think that's the way the term is currently being used. I think I'm using it accurately. If that's the flaw in my whole argument, is that I'm using the word wrong, then I super apologize for that. If what I should just be saying is Rudy can't accept that he might be potentially, his sexuality might have changed, or he might not know it fully, which is much more likely. Never met a femboy before, for example, and then is in denial about that. No, that's a real girl. Must be a real girl. That makes sense to me. Tracks. No qualms. Perfectly reasonable set of things, which demonstrates to me latent homophobia in Rudy is in denial of his own sexuality. Right? Yeah, right. Only instance when the ecchi falling trope actually felt believable. Yeah. I'm going to drop one in the pool and say I disagree about Rudy's thought process being gross. He loves Fitz. He loved Fitz before his dick stood up, and he loved Fitz before he knew Fitz was a girl. I agree. And he loved Fitz when he thought Fitz was a man, which meant he was able to love a man. And he wasn't able to reckon with that at all. Right? He loved a person. Smiley face. This is a boy. He loved that person. That makes him gay. Even if not so, even if pheromones and you're actually falling in love with a woman, but if we take it as writ and Fitz is believably male in story, then Rudy falls in love with a dude. And he needs to reckon with that, and instead he denies it. And that's okay. That might be the way that the character is intended to be written. In fact, he might have had a year of fucking reckoning with it and being like, what it couldn't be, but maybe I'm gay. Oh, I'd be okay with that, I think, but it would be better if it was a woman. We didn't see it. Yes, it's rare for someone's sexuality to change so late into their teens, but it's not rare to not be exposed to something that you didn't know was your kink or like your sexual preference. If you've never met a feminine man, you might have another thing coming when you do. Literally. Sorry, it's true. A lot of people think that their individual sexuality is very black and white, and most of the time it's not. That's what the Kinsey scale is about. That's why it's a spectrum in most cases. Maybe this feels like it's somehow a spiraled out remnant of like of identitarian politics and like this whole idea that we can label things so easily and effectively. It's all blurry, man. That's not how it actually works. People can go through their whole 60 years of life in two different worlds and never be exposed to someone of the same gender who might make them have feelings. And actually not change the fact that in most contexts they are actually as would identify as and really are mostly straight. And then they meet one person who's like, oh shit, I'm in love with that person. That's weird. That's fucking weird. And that's gonna be a reckoning point. And usually the reckoning doesn't go in the direction of, well, that's fucking weird. That must not be a guy. That's weird. It's a weird choice in the way that it's written. Paul Wynn hits me with some cut content from the novels, and I'm not going to consider it a spoiler. I consider it useful. After Sylvie runs, Rudy just says, I'm hard. And then the scene ends. In the next chapter, we wake up with him the next day as he monologues in bed about how he couldn't sleep, thinking about Fitz, and starts to think about what to do. After thinking, he realizes he values his friendship. Oh, yeah, so that could be spoiler. That's okay, I don't care. I don't actually care. Values his friendship with Fitz's friendship more than he needs to fix his ED and decides to play the dumb arrogant protagonist. Thinks that the gender swap is necessary for the job as bodyguard and doesn't want to disturb things. If he ever tried to come out and date, that would cause problems and a rift. So doesn't think of Fitz as a means to an end, but makes a surprisingly mature decision to value others more than himself. In addition, in the novel, he was ready to accept that he might have been gay or bisexual. He was very confused since he never felt that way in a previous life. Reasonable. He goes on this large tangent to see if he could affirm if he was gay or not, and doesn't reach much of a conclusion. Reasonable. And at least that's what it was supposed to be until the anime kind of butchered it. That's what I thought. And I disagree that anime butchered it. I think it's more like T is reading way too much into it and trying to justify Rudy's actions as evil no matter what. I don't think so. I don't think so, man. I don't think I'm trying to figure out ways that Rudy's evil. I actually just think he's a broken, like, a really, like, twisted person. But we knew that from the start. And he's getting better, but it's like, it's not an instant thing. T has been known for standing up for Rudius in general, and I kind of agree with him. His behavior has a homophobic nuance that most of us probably would have similarly if we were to experience something similar. I do think so. We don't accept that kind of feelings naturally, and as a normal possibility is the proof of rejection to such people, and it's normal in Rudius. He does come from a patriarchal society. It would have been better if the anime would have shown that he was ready to accept such a possibility as they say happened in the novels. I don't know if that was the case, but it didn't go that deep into actually exploring it, and it simplified it and gave Rudy a justification, an easy way out. In neither the light novel nor the web novel does it end that way. There are a few pages still left, which is likely to be adapted in the next. Okay, well, I mean, maybe I've just been spoiled on stuff. That's fine. Maybe it'll pull it back for me. I don't know. Let me hit up newest first, and then I'll go take a damn shower. He fell in love with a very feminine man, then discovered that he was in fact a woman. I don't think that's as creepy as he made it sound to be. I don't think it's that creepy either. But he did fall in love with a very feminine man, and that, in and of itself, before finding out that that is a woman, means that he's gay or bi, or pan, or something. At least femboys are okay. I don't think it's creepy either. I think it's fine. Like, good. Great. And explore that shit. Encourage, but not like, I don't think that encouraging the attitude of then that can't be a guy, which is what he says. Okay, I'm gonna go take a shower. I'll be back fresh-faced and more positivist. I'll draw on camera again this time. I know that we're off kilter, so I'm starting Dutch. That's all I've got as a start. I don't really know. Maybe it's like the window that we've had as a motif, you know? Maybe something like that, but really off kilter. It is that window, then it's got the circles of glass in it. Because, like, the way I see it, however I feel about it, Rudy's been trapped in this sort of stumbling darkness for a long time. He's not in the pit. That's it. He's not in the pit. He's in the tunnel. The slow, continuous grind forward without really being able to see the proverbial light at the end or any real way out. He's just kind of going to school and going about his day to day. And what we've had are these like occurrences that are sort of vignette-y and have happened, but none of them have, until Nanahoshi stuff and until the Fit stuff, which all happens at once, coalesce, we haven't been able to see a light at the end, or a way out, or a window open, you know? And that was our motif before. So maybe that's what we're looking at here, is like, behind this window is the effect of a tunnel, or a deepening in place. Like, it goes further and further in. So then, if that's there, and this would be here once more. And then each of these might be three-dimensional, like a tunnel of its own. So each one is its own tunnel within a spiraling fractal tunnel of infinite tunnels. Something like that. So then each one would feel like this. Yeah, something like that. Well, that's pretty cool. I drew another art. That's the second one that I'm actually proud of. Maybe the third. There was one a little while ago. There have been a few. There have been a few that I've been proud of. It's the second one in a row, though. That's pretty interesting. That one's my own voice. I drew that yesterday for Kome. This one, I think this is Twisting Tunnels. Yeah, it's Twisting Tunnels. It's the window motif, and then it's a lot of weird layers of shit going in different directions that I don't understand, but it does weird things to my mind and it means something to me, so that's art as far as I'm concerned. What is it? I don't know. It's kind of a bunch of things, right? It's like a tunnel within a tunnel, and then it's the window with all the window circle things because they're glass like that. But then it's like tunnels within tunnels within tunnels, all creating different tunnels that you can choose. To me, it's like you go down a path in a game or in a cave system, and there are multiple paths to choose, and you get to choose which one you go down. And they might all lead similar directions, but you can't really tell because it's all like refracted and weird through the window and stuff. I wonder if that's an intentional part of it. Nah, probably not. Twisting Tunnels. Yeah. この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Episode 11, and I'm hoping for a good episode. I think a lot of people might think that I'm gonna be coming at this from like an angry perspective or something like that, and it's just not the case. I'm not even disappointed, really. I just want to know what's gonna happen next. That said, I don't like getting dragged over the coals when I'm fucking right, and so I'm gonna go over the last episode's parts once more, quickly, so that I have this for editing. I've already done a bunch of discussion and comments and stuff, but I want to do it in a more concise format now that I've got it all together in my head. So I'm going to pull up episode 10 first, and we're just going to go really quickly through a couple of key moments that I think people just don't remember happening the way that they happened in the episode. But they do happen the way that they happened in the episode. I'm going to point at them, and then we can go from there. Okay, Rudy runs into Fitz Sylphie, who's not Fitz, which is actually Ariel, dressed as Fitz, gets cold-shouldered and feels bad feelings about that. At present moment, Rudy has every reason to only believe that Fitz is a boy. We've drawn a smiley face and said, this is a boy, and we've said, this is Jim, and this is Bob. Bob is a boy. Jim is a girl pretending to be a boy. Bob doesn't know that. Bob believes that Jim is a boy, or whichever one was which. Doesn't matter. Bob believes that Jim is a boy. Then, next, Bob has feelings for Jim. Begins to wander around the school trying to figure out what those feelings are. Doesn't know what those feelings are. We run in, we have the interaction, and he figures out that there's something wobbly here. Reasonable and interesting, and does give room for the interpretation and the question whether that is actually a woman or not. But there's still no reason for him to question that, really. He still thinks Bob is Bob, and Bob is a boy, even though we know Bob is a girl. He's freaked out about it. I wish we'd done a lot more there. We are not indicated that there might be pheromones here. He's falling in love entirely with all of the feminine aspects of this person, and that's reasonable and totally fine. And then he realizes the truth. I'm in love. I'm in love with a man. That's totally fine and normal. And then his immediate next logical step is not, maybe I'm not as certain of my sexuality as I thought I was. His immediate next step is hard denial. That's not a man then. Maybe it's not a man. Maybe I can find some weaselly way to worm myself out of this, keep my identity, my sexual identity intact, and actually have, like, this'll all be fine. He happens to be right in circumstance because it's thinly written, honestly. But if we just take it as Jim and Bob, Jim starts having feelings for Bob, and his first impression should be, maybe I'm not as certain of my sexuality as I thought I was. Guess I've never met a hot femboy before. Maybe there's some room for experimentation. Instead, and this is where I think that the internalized homophobia is the exact term, and it is the correct term, and people are mad at me for using it when it is the correct term for this thing, when people deny their own sexual impulses toward someone else of the same gender. That's internalized homophobia and denial. I've been through it. I've experienced it firsthand. I've wrestled with the same things Rudy has here. I'm not knocking him for it. This is normal and fine. But his first impression is not, maybe I'm in love with a man. He does say that. He does say, I'm in love with a man, and his next logical step is it really a man? And that grosses me out a little bit. There must be something wrong in the outside world, or different in the outside world. Certainly I'm not wrong about my self-impression. Yeah, you are. Most likely, if you were in this circumstance, you would probably be wrong about your self-impression and would actually be experiencing denial as a result of internalized homophobia in the face of a sexual attraction towards someone who is representing themselves, at least, as the same gender as you. Deal. Cope. That's what it is. It's what that is. And that's okay, but it's still kind of gross. And I'm not sure that Rifujin intended it to be this way. I'm not sure that Rifujin intended it to be, like, really thick and well fleshed out, or would know how to do so. It seems like a fumble, narratively, for the purposes of narrative fulfillment and making this whole ED into friendship, into relationship sort of circumstance that we're doing with Fitz Sylphie work. And that's fine. But it still grosses me out a little bit, and it still is denial based on internalized homophobia directly. And it's even useful to address as such, because, as I said, I actually resonate with this as a frame, as a scene, where you've got you've got some sexual feelings that you don't know how to cope with, because they don't match up with your internal identity, and you gotta go explore that shit. And the more time you spend going, no, traps aren't gay, the more time you're gonna be stuck. And it would be really useful if the story actually addressed it in any meaningful capacity. Our character apparently, in the one of the many versions of this story, spends 6 months to 8 months or something walking around the school being brain-racked about this. We get 1 day of montage. That doesn't do it for me. This could be an opportunity to be really interesting, and it's not. And that's okay too, but it's not great. And then the second thing is, people have gotten pissed at me because I've taken Rudy's sequence of thoughts as usurious, as seeing Fitz as a means to an end, regardless of his feelings toward the person, and being more excited about his ED having a potential cure than he is excited about either Fitz being a woman, or the potential of a cool relationship building, or anything else. He's mostly, particularly focused on the ED, is my angle. Okay, here's why that's my angle. Our character actually says, Fitz, you really are a woman. She says, no, I'm a boy. He says, Mr. Fitz is a woman. That's a big deal. And then his next line is, but more important than that, my pee-pee goes wee. You see where I might have gotten the idea that our character thinks it's more important for him to reach his goal than it is that Fitz is a woman? Maybe it's because it's what he says. Don't fucking drag me over the coals when I'm right. This is what he says in the words. You can interpret it through whatever lens you want, but the words are there, and I'm dealing with the piece of media as it actually is. And I'd appreciate if we would all do the same. Because some of you are in as much denial about Rudius's interpretations of these events as Rudius is in denial about his sexuality potentially being wibbly. because his sexuality is wibbly and he's in denial about it. And apparently he's not in another version of the media. Like in another version of the story, he spends all that time and goes, maybe I am actually bi. I didn't realize that. Maybe I just had never run across a hot femboy before. Legitimate and a reasonable thing. But here we are. That's the end of the thing. I'm going to go take a couple of deep breaths and pet a cat, and I'll be right back. And then we'll get into episode 11. Which probably is going to have nothing to do with any of this, and it's all not going to matter, and it's all just like hot air smoke that people are upset about, and now I'm upset about, and it just doesn't matter. So, fucking hell, people. Fucking hell, people. Okay. Man, cats are cute. Right? Right. Mushoku Tensei episode 11 is titled You Too, and the characters are going to Bono. Sorry. Mushoku Tensei episode 11 is titled To You, and the characters are going to Bone. Probably not, actually. What does to you mean? I don't know. It could mean, like, anything in any circumstance. It could be a love letter. It could be a confession. It could be nothing. It could be a letter from another character that we haven't even thought of. I actually don't have any impression of what to you means, other than it's actually a kind of a bland and boring title, and that scares me. But we are at episode 11, right before episode 12, which as far as I know is the end of the cour, which is a perfect time for something crazy to happen and make you actually wait the time that it's going to take to wait for the cour. Because let's talk about the show so far. It's fine, and I'm here for the ride, but a lot of people are dropping this ride, baby, and you're crazy if you think they're not. Season 1 was pretty great, like, looked really cool, and a lot of people are just here for that. The fact that it's got some cool emotional stuff, that's the sneaky secret that gets you hooked later, but a lot of people only see surface deep into a show like this, and the surface deep level of the show hasn't been very good looking, or very fun, or very action heavy, or like a lot happening, or super dramatic, really. And so it feels really boring and slow to a lot of people, and they're gonna drop the show. So one way to overcome that is to have something crazy happen in the last couple of episodes before you get a cour break, and at least to indicate that something crazy is going to be happening so that they can come stay and watch the show once we pump another 6 months of effort into drawing the stupid thing and making it look moderately okay at least. Or, more hopefully, as people have been saying, actually put some real effort into season 2 and like the part of the cour where things are going to pick up and get crazy, because they're going to get crazy. Well, if they're going to put all the effort, time, energy, money into drawing all that shit out properly, they need to get viewership for it, and that might not happen. Like, we might be in the midst of a potential set of decision-making points for the producers and production of Mushoku Tensei that will sink or sail this series going forward. And I'm sorry to say that, but it is a pragmatic truth about the industry that we're engaging with here. If this little cour that's just kind of not as good, right? Like, it's not quite up to snuff, causes 25% of the watching population to go, I'm not interested anymore. They're gone and they're not coming back. And the profitability margin on the next season goes, and that turns into a big flop, and that's a problem, because it indicates to the industry that making this sort of, like, deep anime that goes on for multiple cours is a bad idea, because it's unpredictable and bad, even on an established piece of media that has a lot of, like, oomph behind it. That would be very bad, I think, if you're an anime watcher who wants to see good media come through. So it's a real problem that they've dropped the ball so much in cour 2. And I really hope that they can pick it up, either this episode or next episode, not just for my own enlightenment and fulfillment, but for the chances of the next cour being good, which I'd like, because probably there's some really good stuff there. And, I expect Rifujin is going somewhere with most of the elements of the story here. There can be some fumbles, and that's okay. I don't care. Everybody makes mistakes, including God, our author. Who cares? Enough of the story is really amazing to be really amazing if it just picks up. But man, I'd like it to pick up and have the viewership to match. And I don't know if it's going to happen if the season just chugs to a slow, bland end here. If this episode and the next episode don't knock it out of the park, I don't know if we can like expect really good things from Mushoku going forward. That's really sad. Again, I think I'm here for the ride, and I'll experience it through as an anime as it goes, but we'll see. we'll see. And I don't think that the popular sentiment is super great, and that's a little sad. So we move into the actual thing. Let's actually move into the actual thing and actually watch the dang thing. Episode 11 of Season 2, up and ready to go. To you, it is called PiP Timer. Let's go. It looks like we are going to get some of the dialogue that we cut from the previous episode. Symbolism, fuck off. The fountain is actually very funny. Hi! Oh, this might be interesting. What is it? Yeah. Oh. Nothing about nothing. I don't want to be your enemy. What? Dude, he knows you're patronizing him if you hit it like that. He's not gonna take that, man. Come on, I wouldn't take that. That was patronizing as shit. I'm not gonna stand up to you. You're so cool, Luke. I don't think Luke's gonna take that. I think if I were in Luke's situation, I would see Rudius as more of a threat now. Be like, oh, well, he just lied to my face and is now trying to manipulate me. Might want to eliminate him. I don't know. But I guess I don't really know Luke's relationship with Ariel that well. Hi, Nanahoshi. Bye, Eris. Decision time? I think I've been revealed! Oh, okay, it's the other way. I thought you would come for this discussion. Okay. What if they let it go? Alright, reasonable, we'll just let it go. Oh. Decision time. Ikokoro. Good heart, huh? Oh, but what am I allowed to do? You're in charge, Ariel. Oh, she sees it pragmatically, too, winning to our cause slowly. Are you gonna give her permission? Okay! Well, then there's no problem with any of this. That's great. Aww. Kindly work it up. You're allowed. Oh, no. 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 It's not like I have feelings. Aww. Alright, this is pretty cute. It super is. That's pretty cute. Well, that's good to clarify. I did think she was your servant. Is there something you want to do? I want to run away. Oh. Physically able to say it. I actually thought she would just explode. That was well spoken. And she, of course, doesn't know that he's, like, carrying around the... He's got the thing. That would do it. Yeah, that would do it. Hi, I do know you. Wait, why not? What? Or just has no idea that they're the same who's sleeping here? Or is that just part of the music? It might just be part of the music. Let's rearrange the same circumstance so that we trick him into thinking of the same situation and realizing that the truth is the... Oh. Both their eyes go... Yeah, phrasing. That's the one. It's so weird that she sees it in that light in the... Oh, that's interesting. It makes sense, though. So we're gonna plan now. Oh, see, this could go really well, or this could be really ass-backward stupid. People and romance. Oh boy. Kids? Whoa! Oh, honestly, this is like Paul, and this is cute, actually. This is awesome. That's so cute. Aww. Aww. How honest. I will never forgive you. Ooh, yoy. She's great. Ariel's great. The meanest self-help coach. Well, we're gonna cut away now. Alright, here we go. So now we go to Rudy's normal day. No, we're in Fitz day. Okay, what are we gonna do here? I'm totally wrong about everything. Where might he be? There he be. Oh, and there's a demon man. Gotta remember, he's with a squad. Hello. The Rudy. Oh. Oh! Stuff like he's getting punched. Oh! Oh no! Oh no! It's gonna be so weird. This is gonna go great, but aw, it's so cute. Yeah, but it's okay. I love you. I'll do it anyway. It's okay, dude. I love you. What? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uchi no Yojimbo. Oh my god, we're going on a fetch quest? It's a fake fetch quest? This will go so badly. Ice dragons. Oh, of course he knows exactly what it is. Because they did the research to know that he would know where it is. Oh, Fitz could even do it. So just you and me. And maybe Luke? No, no, I have to go myself. What? No! You don't get it. I'm trying to ask you out. I've got this confusing plan. I've got this deeply confused. You're not getting it. Yeah, but why would we? But why would we? How dangerous. All right. Oh, thank goodness. What a brilliant plan you've come up with, Ariel. She almost fumbled it really bad. Rudy almost fumbled it too. It's just like when he was getting asked out by Sarah. Aw, it feels so nice to be guarded by you and also have you carry all my stuff on our fun shopping trip to get a cool flower. Alright, are they gonna organize an attack? Whoosh! Your payment is here! Oh my god. No, I have not nailed it, right? Ooh. Oh, this is so cute and so broken. Have they organized a bullshit experience here? Or are we gonna actually run into something dangerous accidentally? Or oh, nice. That's so fucking cool. Oh, it's so intimate. Baller. That was very cool. We don't talk about your exes. Don't talk about your exes. Is that part of the plan? You want to hold his stick? Yeah, the beginner's one that you gave me! Oh. Oh my god, this is funny. This is pretty funny, Reefagene. Yeah. Oh, this is amazing. Are you gonna throw his staff away? What is this? Okay, gem magic. M. Was that a dense fog? A rain. Oh, we're doing the same thing. Rain, cave, Sarah. Same sequence, right? Oh, right. I'll just... That'll ruin everything. He's a fucking weather mage! Why are we weirdly fighting against... weird. Huh? Hey, you're all drained of mana. Still tapped a bunch of mana, though. This could all go great until a real dragon shows up. Okay, we've done it. Wet clothes, shelter in a cave, fire, close off, accidental cool reveal. It's just like childhood. Or is there something in the cave? This is so cute. Through the threshold. That was a different threshold, wasn't it? Yeah. Da, 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 da. Shouldn't we take our wet clothes off? This is strange, man. Is somebody fucking with me? Fully she in head. Mission accomplished. Oh, why not? You're both boys, aren't ya? Oh, Fitsu Senpai, why are you not taking your clothes off? Dude, see the... Bro. Oh, that's so sad. That's so cute as well. That's so cute. Yeah, but you're gonna die of hypothermia, dog. Hug from behind? What are we gonna do here? Fitsu? You're actually suffering from hypothermia now. Say something, please. Oh, ah. So stay here? Turn it blue! This was the plan? Was this the plan? Huh? Can we get a snap to Rudy's internal monologue with like a huh? Aww. You've been asked. Yeah, I know. Still, though. Needs to be you, huh? Do the glasses count? Do we start with the glasses? Aww. Okay. How much time do we... We might have enough time for this to go in interesting directions. Still the... Hasn't seen the... That's the same, isn't it, though? Oh, so he is bing-bonging it. Oh, right. He's got the thing. Hi. Okay. Every bit. Rip the pants down! Eye to eye. Oh, we are gonna take the glasses off. Head eyes. Aww. Aw, he remembered. Aw, he remembered. I shouldn't even have to tell him. Ah, they did it. All right, we did it. Hey, they did it. This works. This is fine by me. Yeah, okay, bye. Hey, bye. It's cute and goofy, and we flubbed it a bunch, but that's about right. Yeah, that seems right. Then also, wait, what? This is crazy. Aww. She hasn't been able to talk to anybody, really. Kisu? Yeah? I don't know about that. Please never leave me again is a hard one, but hell yeah, man. Wow. I'm into it. I got no probs. It's cute and goofy and fumbly. It feels just like the, you know, in the same way that the Eris thing was cute and goofy and fumbly when we actually got around to it. And right? It feels right too. And so does the open, unambiguous, like, sexual desire from Sylphie when she's talking to Ariel and them and just, like, lets it go and can't really figure. It's just like, yeah, maybe he'll put lots of babies in me. That'll be great. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Aw. Aw. I think they nailed it. I think the episode was really good, actually. I like the mild bait and switch on there's one thing left and he goes for the glasses instead of the pantsu, because that's the established thing left that there is actually the panties, and that's not what he goes for, which is a really good arrangement of thematic elements. Like, that works. What is the important thing? The identity of the person that I'm interacting with. That's correct. Yeah, it's great. Turning point. Please, not a turning point. Thank you. I want to tell you. Didn't we just tell you? Did we just do that? So then maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something dark and mysterious. All right, I really like this episode. In fact, our speech and conversation about this episode is going to be inordinately short compared to all the bullshit that we've gone through talking about the intro discussion beforehand and all the stuff about the previous episode. And as expected, the stuff that happened in the last episode, the parts that I actually had any gripes with, have literally no relevance to the future of this episode, so that's fine. really interested in the circumstance, play it very safe with Luke. I really like the framing of this whole scene with them opposed from each other, and then the close eyes and closer eyes as we narrow down and get more sinister. It actually makes me believe that as Rudy does in this circumstance, that like Luke is a dangerous person who might, if this goes poorly, and if he doesn't believe Rudius, he might order his death. No holds barred. That's the world that we live in right here, right? And so I actually buy that and am here for it, and it's pretty cool. I think Rudy fucks it, but I didn't realize just how good a leader and thinker Ariel is being presented as, because she's being presented as very perceptive and also having a lot more informers and informants across the school than we were aware of, or than I was aware of. So pretty intelligent lady, and somebody who I think we haven't met that many characters who are in any way in line for power. Eris is one of them, and Ariel is another. And Ariel is so far the most adept leader that we've seen, I think. Certainly kicks Rudy's ass when it comes to leadership. Certainly kicks Soldat's ass as far as I'm concerned, although they're in very different realms, right? But then each of the kings, noblemen's, other people that we've met over the course of the series, Ariel's got a real chance to make stuff happen for herself because of the way that she's being represented. And I'd like to see that come to fruition. I'd also really love to see when we combine the powers of our various powerful ladies, if we are able to do that, because that would be quite cool. If we could have like Eris being the vanguard fighter, like for Ariel's thing, and Fitz being the protecto mage and all, that kind of thing it'd be kind of neat. This whole setup is really fun because we enter into the whole scene all Dutch and all scared and all spooked. And then it becomes really intimate and straightforward and direct as Ariel cuts through the crap and gets directly to it and starts calling her Sylphie directly. And we get these like intimate moments of hands clasping and getting face to face and all of these things. And those are solid, and they're part of that same charisma and leadership thing that is Ariel's capacity. So that's pretty neat. You're my friend, not my servant is something that needs to be explicitly stated. As I said during the thing, it might be obviously so, but still you're under the umbrella of Fitz being a servant to you. And so we give the permission and we say, what do you want to do? And she finally says it. I want to be with Rudy, straightforward, but is of course deeply worried about it. And so we do all this work on figuring the thing, and it's all very cute. I find this sort of blushing at the embarrassing moment that has become colored in her mind as like it's so in the past, and it's colored completely differently. It's colored completely differently than the actual event in memory. And I think that's really interesting and really, in a lot of ways, true of people and our experiences. And I think it's something that we might see multiple times over the flow of our series. As our characters grow and change, they will change in their relationships to the events that have occurred in their past. Like Rudy's relationship to the Eris betrayal will change as he grows. Rudy's relationship to the Eris first sex experience will change. Eris's relationship to Rudy's first sex experience with her will change. She'll become a different person and see it in a different light, obviously. And now we see Sylphie already seeing in a different light some of the events of their childhood. And that's pretty interesting. But we pick up on it, and that's what we use as our framework, which I think is dumb as shit. I think it's dumb as shit and convoluted as hell. And Ariel nails it in the first scene where she's just like, honestly, you just need to go up and tell him that you're the Sylphie that he knew from Buena Village, and that's going to have your best chances of success. But that seems difficult, so we'll come up with this whole conniving bullshit thing to take you out to a cave in the woods and do a romantic. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a romantic person. maybe I'm not a romantic person. But we let the courtship occur. And part of what Rudy is doing is, as the suspicious things occur, he's just like, okay, this is pretty suspicious and weird, but I'm just going to go with the flow because I don't want to mess it up or cause any problems. And that attitude has allowed it to come through and occur as it's going to come through. And so, in many ways, Rudy has learned to step back, relinquish some control, allow the world to move through him, allow the events to happen, and let it all just sort of breathe. And I think that's a lesson to take away from the episode, is that things can, even if they're fumbly and bumbly and bullshit, if something's going on and it's interesting and it's changing and you get this moment of like, something's weird, but it doesn't seem like I'm under a direct threat, and my alarm bells and spidey sense aren't going off, then I'm just gonna let it play out and be the calm here and let the people around me do what they need to do. And that's a pretty cool perspective, I think. I think I have stuff to learn from that. It's pretty cool. The whole crudeness scene and back and forth to them is very cute. I think it's actually exceptionally cute. I have no problems with it at all. I think Ariel bringing in the whole, like, I forbid you to see him as a pretty goofy punishment is really cute because it's like world ending for Sylphie, and so it's perfect. It's just like parenting. It's so cute. All of this works really well. Then there's the whole sequence of getting asked out and almost not being able to get asked out because he keeps trying to solve the problem, which is right on. That's right on. Hey, I've actually got this problem that you need to solve. Oh, here, let me give you a number for the plumber that I know. No, I really need you to come solve it alone. I need you to come clean my pipes. I need you. Please come clean my pipes. Here's the plumber that I know. I know 3. Hey, here's Jim. He's my plumber and he'll give you a great deal. Don't you worry about that. Do. I helped the pretty lady. And the pretty lady's like, I just wanted him to fuck me. What's going on here? Come on. I just wanted the dick. Jesus. Exactly what's going on here in the scene, and I think it's really great. And Rudy finally puts his head on and is just like, okay, so, well, actually, what it is when she says, couldn't you and I pull this off easily without them, he just immediately is like, all right, fine, I accept, sure, do with me what you will, woman, take me, and good, and it works. All of the awkward fumbly bumbliness and silly contrivances, like let's make it rain, let's do all these things, are very silly and fun, but the continued scene growth of intimacy as they go on this sort of date sequence thing is pretty cool and pretty good. I buy that they're getting closer to each other. I buy that Rudy, while standoffish, is in this mode of like, something's weird, but I'm gonna let it happen. And in letting it happen, it freaking comes together and happens. And we hold for one moment. I think Sylphie's walk right here, where she just walks and is slightly cute. There are a bunch of little cute character animation moments throughout the episode that are scattered all throughout. And then I think this is a threshold, as we've had many before. That's a threshold, and I appreciate it. I approve. And he tries and tries and tries to just deal with his own thing before realizing what's going on. And it's really cute, the way that it all unfolds. And I think that the demand for, I will die if you don't do something, is really cute and terrifying and contrived and dumb and stupid. And fumbly and bumbly and weird, but it does have the exact desired effect of bringing forward the memory and making him realize the thing. I'm amazed that she never at any point is like, you're wearing my necklace. That's pretty interesting. Hey, weird. It's pretty sexual. Obviously, right? It's just like the Eris scenes. Are we gonna get flaky about this? I don't think we should. I really hope not. These are characters who want to have sex with each other, and they're undressing each other, and our camera holds in the view of the characters mostly. I mean, we get some shots of Sylphie's butt that technically Rudy isn't seeing, but who cares? I think all the framing ends up good. Even the one where we're like right in the middle of right there, like, or here, it's actually pretty demure and pretty well and tastefully framed, I think, for what is a highly sexual situation. And it's evident to me in a number of ways. The moment when there's still one thing left and he goes for the glasses is one of those. And that moment where we stand up and become eye to eye with the glass in between us is very solid and compelling to me. And remove them, see a beautiful face, and it's a great expression. And I think they nail the expressions between the characters throughout this scene, which is tough and reasonably difficult to do. And the love is stated and expressed effectively. Bada bing, bada boom. I think they nailed this episode. I wonder if people are going to dislike this episode because it's so simple. I don't know. Well, that's pretty good. I'm happy. that's a pretty short discussion, honestly. So we'll have a bunch of discussion at the beginning and a little short discussion at the end. Maybe I'll just trim the fuck out of the intro discussion because it actually doesn't matter that much now that we've moved on past it. All right. Lovely. What will next episode be? Maybe just more of this and figuring it out and moving toward a future. I don't actually know. Doesn't indicate too much about it via the title, so no idea. Will it have some kind of twist incoming in order to pull us in for Core 2 stuff? I kind of hope so, just for the sake of the show. Maybe this is enough. Hey, fulfilling romance seems pretty good to me. Maybe not. Maybe some wrinkles will happen, because nothing's ever as simple as this. And a character saying, "Oh, won't you never leave me again?" sure is a good opportunity to have the other character leave them immediately again because they're forced to, because of awful circumstance and horrible reality. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for joining me for Mushoku Tensei. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that we don't have to rehash all the stuff from the last episode too much. We'll see. And I think this is a pretty good romantic development. And in my humble opinion, genuinely, I do think it is a pretty good romantic development, and that's pretty great. I'll see you next week for more. Peace.